Hey there, Bixby developers. We have made it to part 3 of the Result View tutorial remake for 2021. In this part, we'll be adding the finishing touches, a few missing components from the Result View, as well as the dialogue for the Result View, and finally, even a conversation driver. So let's go ahead and see where we left off.
Here's what I found. Here's what I found.
First thing to note is that we can see that the dialogue for the pets is very rigid right now. It's simply just saying, here's what I found, here's what I found. And we're also missing a couple components at the end. And finally, there are no conversation drivers for this capsule. Why don't we go ahead and start addressing all of that? The first thing to do is let's actually finish adding the 2 remaining components. As a quick refresher, let's go ahead and use the component gallery. Just press Control Space, and then you have the Insert from Component Gallery. Hit Enter, and finally scroll down, and we're going to add just a simple paragraph. And for the text, we're going to want this to be small. Now, we're going to use the Detail M Soft. And I'm just going to copy and paste this because it's a lot of text. And in this example, we can see that there are some \n's. What these /n's do is that they are actually interpreted as line breaks inside of the capsule. And this is actually very helpful for us if we want to do that.
Here's what I found.
Right, so now we can see that this sincerely John P shows that there are line breaks in between here, 2 line breaks here, and finally 1 line break after the sincerely. Which is a very useful trick to know when it comes to working with paragraphs in Bixby. And the last component we're going to add is the attribution link. So one thing about the attribution link is that it should always be at the very end of a view. Now I know in the part 1 when I demoed the capsule, I believe it wasn't at the very end, but here I'm telling you that if you want to use the attribution link, it should be at the very end. And we actually need to check first to see if the pet has an attribution link. In this case, I believe only Moxie has an attribution link, but this would be useful to, for example, link directly to the pet's page or something like that. And we're going to add a label for the attribution link. This is just what the attribution link actually displays. And we can see here that all it's doing is if the pet object has a link description, then just display it. Otherwise, just display the word link is fine. And finally, the attribution link needs an actual URL. And there we go. Now we've added the attribution link to the very end of this result view. Let's go ahead and see if that works.
Here are 7 pets. Here's what I found.
There it is. So now it can actually lead you to Moxie's Instagram as well. But now let's actually try to drive more engagement with this capsule. And a great way to do that is with conversation drivers. Conversation drivers appear down here and also indicate to the user what they can say to continue to use your capsule. In order to add a conversation driver, you need to actually go do this in the view. And I like putting it after the render key, but here you can add the conversation drivers. And the first thing to note is that we need to check to see if the size of pets is just 1, because we want to make sure that we're on this page when we prompt the user to show me more cats, for example. Now we're going to add the actual conversation driver. And it can just be something simple like show me more cats. And perhaps show me some dogs. Go ahead and run this.
I found these.
So the first thing to note is that they are not appearing down here with this multi-list view or with this list view.
Here's what I found.
But they are showing up down here with the singular pet view. So now we can actually click on show me more cats.
I found these 4 pets.
And it will just show you the cats in this capsule. And let's make sure the dog one works too.
I found these.
And yes, the dog one works as well. So great. Next thing we want to do is to change the actual dialogue here, because you obviously don't want it to just keep reading I found these or I found these pets or whatever, right? You want it to be a little bit more engaging than that. To do that, we will want to create a new dialog file. Right-click, new dialog, and just name it pet.dialog is fine. And we're going to have to match a pet concept with the alias as pet, small pet, well, pet with a lowercase p. And we're adding this because this way we're able to access the variables inside of the action as well. The action that, led to this result. So starting off, we're going to want different dialogues for if there is more than one pet like this screen.
Here's what I found.
Or if there is a single pet like this screen. And it's very similar to what we did previously. So if size of pet greater than 1, then we can have some kind of dialogue here. So let's start off with a simple one. Here are size of pets. So for example, if there's 5 pets, it'll say here are 5 adorable pets. And it's size of pet, not size of pets. So let's run start.
Here are 7 adorable pets.
There we go. Now every time it reaches this screen, it will say here are 7 adorable pets. But we need to make this a little bit more dynamic than that. Let's add a choose random. And what this does is that if you have multiple templates provided to it, it will choose one of these templates at random to read to the user. So now that we've provided this choose random 2 different templates, it will choose one of them at random.
I found 7 pets that need some cuddles.
Here's one.
I found 7. Here are 7 adorable pets.
And there's the second one. So here we can see that it is choosing them at random. But why don't we actually add a little bit more flavor to this by, if the user searched by species, then we can provide them a custom dialog that also includes the species. And if the user did not provide a species, then we just go back to this more generic dialog. So what we're doing here is we are checking to see if the find pets action had a species passed into it. For example, find me some cats, find me some dogs. And I'm just going to copy and paste this over here. And we're going to replace this adorable pets with the species that was provided. And we can add an S to it at the end because in this case, we can handle that just fine. And we're also going to want to replace this as well with the species provided. Now if I ask Bixby to show me some cats.
Here are 4 adorable cats.
There we go. Now it included the species that was provided as a search parameter. So next, let's do the dialog for a single pets page.
Here's what I found.
And we don't just want to say here's what I found every time you actually click on a pet. And we do that. We're also going to do a choose random here. And in this case, we wanted to display at the top, meet the pet's name. But we wanted to actually read meet the pet's name and then the biography. To have something displayed that's different from what's read to the user, you can use the speech key. And here, what we're doing is we are also having Bixby read the pet's biography right after it reads, meet pet name. And we just need to change this a little bit so that way it's not as repetitive, similar to the previous one. We have another choose random right here.
Here are 7 adorable pets.
Now if we click on one of these pets,
Meet Moxie. Moxie works very hard every day to become Instagram famous. Shameless plug, at moxie.the.calico. After a tough life on the streets, she currently resides with her owner where she loves being irresistibly cute, seeing how long she can stretch a single meow, and playing fetch with her human. Moxie loves cuddles, watching birds, and punching her evil doppelganger in the mirror.
and yeah, so as we can see, it displayed the template right here up at the top, but it ended up reading both the template, which was provided in the speech key, as well as Moxie's biography. And there you go. That wraps up our remake and part 3, as well as this series of the result view tutorial for 2021. Bixby Studio has gone through a lot of great changes and has added a lot of awesome new features for you to build your capsule much more quickly and efficiently. Hopefully you found this video helpful for building result views, and yeah, that's it.